Hi, this is Bradley Beam with the Illinois Grape Growers and Vendors Association. We recorded a few conversations we were having in the vineyard this last weekend, and part of those conversations were related to harvest timing and determining when to pick your fruit. In on this conversation are Ryan Hyman of Hyman Vineyards, Nick Dieters of Hidden Lake Winery, Dan Becker of University of Kentucky, and we'll start things off with Dr. Bradley Taylor at Southern Illinois University.
I find when I go to a vineyard this time of year is that growers often get very antsy about getting this crop off. And the reason they're antsy is sometimes easy to understand and sometimes not so easy to understand. The easy to understand obviously has to do with the risk of crop loss. The more difficult to understand is issues with discussions between grower and winemaker and just kind of past history. Well, this is the way we've always done it. I think there's a better way to.
Have you had much communication with the wineries before you got their fruit to them this year?
Yeah, I mean, typically I email wineries on a weekly or bi-weekly basis with samples and just try to get their impression of the time frame as far as when they're wanting to pick, or as far as when the fruit's going to ripen, basically.
Do they give you an impression of what style of wine they want to produce from these fruit?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Typically I try to pick their brain a little bit and find out kind of what they're shooting for, and hopefully we're on the same page as far as what they're wanting to do.
Okay.
This is going to be the bulk of your volume right here. So I always like, even if I'm not making a zigzag sample through the vineyard, I like to come in and sample from where you see the bulk of the yield, and you can see the difference in the color of the berries. The real key is avoiding sampling on these shoulders. Sample
On the
interior of that cluster. I sometimes will pull off a berry, drop that one so I can get into an.
The sunny side, you can actually see a bit of a difference. This is a far more gold, bronzy color, and these ones are a far more greenish, dark greenish color. And you can actually see the difference right down the middle here. Half this cluster on this side's that brownish color, and this side's green. But if you're only taking berries on this side, well, you're not going to be taking a very representative sample of this cluster. So again, you could take one from this side and another one from this side, and be sure to, of course, get in that center here, because those berries right there that aren't exposed to the sun, those are actually going to be tartar, be less, have less sugar to them. Any winemaker worth their salt will know that the structural components of a must in a wine can be changed. pH can be changed, TA can be changed by adding tartaric acid. Percent soluble salt can be changed by either adding sugar or adding water, raise or lower. But the one thing that a winemaker can't change is they can't change the flavor of the grapes. They can only mask it.
Hand right there.
I have a berry from a cluster in this vineyard that's more unripe. And see here, I picked through those outside berries, and I'm now getting into those more unripe berries that were shading in the center. And just popping one of these into my mouth, and first thing I notice is that the pulp is very firm. I get a rush of acid right coating my entire palate. And then the fruit aromas are very simple, mostly green apple, perhaps a little bit of unripe peach right around the pit. And then the skins are incredibly stiff, herbaceous, almost like chewing green grape leaves. And this wine made from these this grape right here in this stage. If you wanted to make a just standard ordinary table wine, it'd be very extremely acidic, not very fruity, and mildly fairly unpleasant. Now, if you wanted to make a sparkling wine, this would be actually a pretty good stage for this. Now, to contrast, I'm going to take some couple grapes off of these more ripe grapes here, and you notice it's much more bronze in color. Ooh, first thing I notice on this, grapes are really soft on these, and I get a rush of sweetness with the palate, with a little bit of acid that's right on the background that pervades the entire juice and pulp of this berry. And then just ripe stone fruits, ripe peach, and a little bit of what's really great on Vidal, really characterful aroma, is these right here actually have a little bit of that honey character, a little bit of that bee pollen. Then the skins are a little bit softer. There's a little bit of a tannic edge to these skins. However, the tannins are milder than they were on the green hard berry. There's actually a really interesting light herbaceous note of almost like a little bit of lettuce or even radish leaves. That's also, if you notice right here, I'm actually describing more phenolic aromas than I was on the first berry, because this has more to it. A wine made from this is actually more fruity, more well balanced, and this would actually make a really presentable dry table wine.
Another aspect of this sampling procedure that we've just gone through, if we take this green berry and focus on the phenolics, I get almost the response of a green gooseberry on the palate. And it just kind of claws its way across my palate. So the phenolics are out of synchronization with the grape if you're going to make a wine that's going to be a full season wine. In contrast, these golden berries have softer but more intense, more complex tannins on the palate, and even in the juice form you get a lingering of flavor on the palate. And I think one of the critical issues that happens when we harvest grapes too early, we oftentimes miss mouthfeel and finish on the wine. And if you think about it, layered flavors that Dan's describing, plus mouthfeel that's filling but not aggressive, and a lingering finish is what describes quality.
So if you think about it, because of the variability from season to season here in the Midwest, we have to work even harder to make sure that our fruit maintains the proper maturity level before harvest, especially if the wine style dictates that. So get out there, taste your fruit, evaluate maturity, and good luck this harvest season.